Okay, then there was one question on principles of management also. Explain any three, no, sorry, one small case was given and find out which of the principles were not followed, something like this. So in that question paper itself, there were some 12 to 13 marks from the topics that we have discussed so far. Okay, very simple. So now we will go into what is planning. Okay, before that, before I forget, after the class, I request the class reps to message me about the contact classes. Okay, we are supposed to conduct the contact classes from next week. As of now, we don't know what is the room number, where we have to do nothing. But from our department side, we want to find who is this. Yeah, from our side, we want to find out how many students are actually interested in this contact classes. So we have decided that there will be no attendance and it will be a brief session to clear your doubts or something. So if you are happy with online, fine. But if somebody wants that contact classes, uh, I request the class reps to find out how many students are interested and then just let me know. Depending on that, we will try to book the classrooms or whatever. Okay, so that is one thing. Yeah, now we'll start with the planning. Again, very important chapter. From this, usually 4 5 marks can be asked. The questions are, explain the steps in planning. Okay, then there are some types of planning which had come recently. I'll tell you when we discuss about that. So let me share my slides. Yes. Yeah. So out of the 5 functions, this is the first function, planning. Okay, planning is basically, we call it as a blueprint of what you want to do. Okay, in other words, planning tells you where you are and where you want to be. Okay, you may have some plans in your mind that next year I should go here and get admission in this college. Okay, so what are you doing to get there? Okay, that is planning. So you must have heard in your life, well begun is half done. If you have done well really, then half the job is done. So that talks about planning. If you have clean plan in mind, okay, this is when I will start applying for universities. They need some universities ask some projects, so I'll be doing those projects now itself so that I can show it in my CV. Some universities expect some research papers or publications, so I'm going to start that from now. So at the end of September I may have one research paper, one project done. Then I can, I have already done some kind of things here, so I can apply for that. Then 3 months for applications. Then January I'll think about, I must make my parents ready with the fees or whatever. Then by March I should get the visa and all that thing. So by next May I should be reaching there. So you may have some plans in mind. Okay, so that is same thing. If you put that in managerial perspective, every organization, everything goes according to a plan. Okay, most of the time is spent in planning, because a good plan means, you can execute it easily. Okay, see why people spend more time on planning, because one thing is it reduces uncertainties. Like in your example, if you don't plan from now, suddenly you decide next within 2 months you have to go abroad for studies. See, when you will apply, the admission date is gone, then you have to wait again for 6 months. You so much time is wasted and all that. So instead, if you have planned before itself clearly what to do, okay, it reduces uncertainties and minimizes impulsive and arbitrary decisions. You're not planned something, but there is some university giving you a seat and you're telling, okay, I'm going there, because you didn't plan. You're taking a rapid decision. That course may not be suitable for you. It may be, say, in mechatronics, you are in say civil, you don't know anything about that, doesn't match, and then you fall in problems. Okay, so if a good plan is there, minimizes impulsive decisions. Okay, and it helps you in resource allocation. If you have a clean plan that by next May we are going to start this new lab, okay, what are the things to do? So you can allocate resource now itself. You will hire 4 or 5 faculty especially for that course. Okay, we need 2 rooms especially for exclusively for that course. All that you can do now. Otherwise, suddenly you start, then you panic what to do. Okay, and it provides a clear direction. Okay, this is what we are doing, so we can channelize all our efforts to that. Okay, that is the importance of planning. It basically bridges the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Okay, right now you are a BTech holder, you are going to be, you want to be a postgraduate degree holder. So to get that, what you should do. Okay, that becomes your plan. Okay, fine. See, basically, in organizational context, we try to answer these questions when you are talking about planning. What needs to be accomplished, and what are the ways to do it? Okay, by when we should do, who is going to do it, who will be the in charge of that, and how it is going to be executed, and how much resources we need. So these are the things we usually answer in these planning things. Okay, you talk about the resources you have, you talk about the deadlines that you have, and do you have the skills or not, and what are the alternative ways of doing it, which is the best way. So you discuss this, and then your plan becomes ready. It's basically blueprint of what you want to do. If you take your house construction, okay, you must have seen that plan. Aeronautical students, in your AutoCAD or something, you must have drawn some plans with these lines and all that. Okay, so that is a blueprint of what is going to happen. Okay, so that is the importance of planning. See, the steps in planning. See, whatever we discussed, if you put that in a formal form, this is the thing that comes in. Okay, steps in planning, important question, usually asked for 3 or 4 marks. Explain the 8 steps in planning. So whatever is put here, you can see that in this figure. So you can explain this in your own words, the 8 steps in planning. Okay, the first one is being aware of the opportunity. See, sometimes this is asked in MCQs. You people don't have MCQs, I guess. The one, maybe in quizzes or something. These kind of things are asked. Being aware of the opportunity in light of what? Okay, in which context we are talking of opportunity? Maybe customers. You have to, choice will be given, competition or whatever. So this is the answer. Okay, you are talking in terms of the market. Okay, see, now if you think you want to start something, okay, the market is good for, esports, all that, games and all that, and then OTT platforms. Okay, there is, scope for you to explore that. So you are thinking from that angle. Okay, I want to do something, I want to release one film of mine. Instead of going to theaters, I can think of OTT platform. Okay, like that. So then you're talking about the market, who will be, the customers, are there customers to buy that or not? You're planning to launch something, you're thinking first, are there customers, is there a market for this, will people buy my product, or there are already existing products? Okay, can I fight with them with the price, or I may have to collaborate with someone. So you're thinking with these customers and competition in mind. Okay, then what your customers want. If you are dealing with laptops or something, you are trying to launch something, either you are making one size fits all, one laptop for all age groups, or you are segmenting the market. So segmenting, you're cutting the market into different pieces based on several things. It can be based on demographics, okay, based on the regions, north, south, east, west, or based on age groups. Okay, youngsters, middle aged people, or the older people, or based on their education levels, based on their income levels, based on the family size. However, based on your convenience, you're segmenting the market, and then you're thinking, does one size fits all? Or if I'm targeting only students, I should have a laptop, with gaming capabilities. It should be able to incorporate better RAM. The display should be good. It should be rough and tough. It should be able to be connected to so many things. Or I'm looking at only corporate professionals, so they want good internet connection, laptops, some nice PPT, Word, and some softwares, that kind of, which can the uh, processor can back it up, like that. Or if I'm looking for some laptop for aged people who they have their kids abroad, they just need a webcam and some photo apps to either Skype call with their family and then look at the photos that has been sent. So you can think of these things, who are your customers, what do they want, and then you can decide what is your call. If you think one size fits all, one soap we are going to launch for all categories, male, female, aged, kids, one soap we are going to do it, okay, for all. Or we'll have multiple soaps. This soap with rose, this is for girls. This soap with the sandal, this is for some other category. soap with glycerin, this is for someone, and soap with moisturizer, this is for another category, like that. Okay, so being aware of the opportunity. And the next step is, you setting your objectives or goals. Okay, you are basically looking at, okay, by when we should do it. Okay, by when we should be able to have this ready. So you're looking at those angles. You found out the market, the competitors, what are your strengths and weaknesses you found out, and then you're setting the goal by when we should do it, how we should do it, all those things. Okay, the next step comes. So next 3 4 steps are similar. Okay, the next step is planning premises. Okay, you are setting a boundary for yourself. In that boundary you will operate. Okay, see, boundary can be, it has different meanings. So you cannot do everything. Okay, so you're setting some boundary for your. So when you do research, for example, when you do your project, HSM project, and when you're presenting it or something, see, people will ask you why you did only this much, why you have not done these things. So people tell that was not in the scope of my research. Okay, in the beginning itself you defined, I am going to collect data from students only. I am going to collect data from faculty only. Or for my project, I can collect data from all age groups, anyone, but minimum sample size is 385. So I collected from 400, or I have collected 385. So you're justifying what you have done. Others people will ask you why you have done only 385, why you have not collected data from 1000 people, or why you collected only from students. So this kind of questions will come. Why you did only with this material? Why you have not tried with another material? Why you have done only coding for this problem? Why you have not used some other? People will keep on asking. So you decide in the beginning and tell this is my operating premises. In the beginning itself, I decided my scope of the study, that this is what I am going to do. There is no end for anything. Okay, so you decide something, I have done this, next researchers can take this forward. So like that, for this project, this is our premises, this is our boundary, next we can expand. Okay, it's like that. So you are setting premises in terms of, maybe say I'm going to target only local area, or I'm going to target only Karnataka, I'm going to target only South India, I'm going to target North India, India full, or international, whatever. We're setting some premises. Okay, you have set some boundary, because at a time you cannot cater to everything. So you are going to do it step by step. Okay, so that is your planning premises. You're setting some boundary to operate. And then the next three are very similar. Okay, next what you are doing is you are identifying the alternatives. Okay, what are the best universities for me to study this course? So you want to do some course on say institutional ethics, you have decided that you are going to do. So you then find out which are the colleges offering that course, and then you see which from these three colleges which is the best suited for me, which is charging the least fees, which is having the highest employment rate, which is having the highest conversion rate of internship to jobs. Okay, seeing that, then you choose. So like that, you decided that you are going to start a new lab in this May or June. Okay, so you found out which is the best lab to start. Okay, which is the software that industry is asking right now. So you found out, maybe for example, I'm telling you Python is a good thing. Okay, people who can code using Python are getting lucrative jobs. So then you're thinking what to do, how to do. So you are thinking, okay, we'll start lab, which is the best software. Python is there, R is there, and whatever, so many things. Then you're choosing the best alternative. Okay, once this alternative is chosen, then we talk about formulating supporting plans. Like now, if you talk about these labs, okay, you decided you are going to teach Python, and you are going to start that lab in June. So now what do you need? Okay, you need PCs. Okay, how many? 30 PCs you need. Like that, 30 table chairs you need. Then you need to have a faculty to teach that software. So do people know it already? If not, pick someone and send them for training. One may not do. One may not be enough. Okay, you may need two or three, so that you can put them in shifts, rotate and all that. So send some 3 4 people for training. Okay, that comes with some expenditure. The lab person should know how to download the software. Then you should talk to a company and then get the software with license. So all these things will come. So all these are supporting plans. Okay, once everything you have planned correctly, then we talk about the budgets. See, when we talk of budgets, budget need not only mean money. Okay, there are different meanings for budget. See, you know, finish this task in 3 hours. So that becomes your budget. Okay, paint this room in 5 liters of paint. Okay, you'll be given only 5 liters of paint to paint this room. Okay, so that becomes your budget. You finish the exam in 3 hours. Okay, so that is budget. So then we talk about here budgets. Okay, some numberized plans, you know, what kind of money will be spent on this, what kind of raw materials are needed, how much will the raw materials cost. Once we get the things ready, where will we keep it? Okay, inventory we should have, it comes with the cost. Then we should find out some clients, will they take delivery from here or we have to go and deliver it to them. That comes with some cost, some supply chain issues. So here you discuss about all those budgets. Okay, and then if you want, you can reformulate, change the plans or whatever. It's an iterative process, but this is the basic blueprint. This is how planning is done. Okay, first being aware of the opportunity, then you set some objectives or goals, then make a boundary for yourself. Okay, premises, then identify the possible alternatives, compare them and choose the best which is more fruitful for you. Then formulate supporting plans and then the budgets. Okay, see whatever we discussed now is here, put here in a simple form. Okay, once you read this you'll get it clearly. Same 8 steps in a different way. Okay, but very important question, what are the 8 steps in planning? You may be asked and explain. Okay, very simple. Okay, one second. Yeah, now we will talk about types of plans. Again, this question was asked in the online or offline? Online. Yeah, this online exam that you had in June, sorry, in Jan, this was the question asked. Okay, this is called the hierarchy of plans. People were asked to explain the hierarchy of plans. 4 marks in your pocket. You were supposed to explain mission, vision, objectives, policies, procedure, rules, budgets. If you had explained this, people got 4 marks. But surprisingly, many had not answered this. From the papers that I corrected, I found that people had not answered this correctly. I don't know, maybe because of online classes. But you people be aware that is a very important question. Okay, see, these are different plans arranged in some hierarchy. We'll discuss about that today. Plus, there is something called single use plan and standing plan. Okay, as the name suggests, single use plan is you are using it for one time. For next time again you have to have a new plan. Whereas there are some plans called standing plans, like your policy, organizational policy remains constant. Once in a while there may be changes, but every year, every day changes doesn't happen. Okay, policy, procedure for admission or whatever. That is the procedure to change the room. Okay, all these things are same. Once in a while changes happen. Rules. Okay, these are standing plans. Single use plans are planned for once, every time you'll have to change. So we'll see that today. Okay, so now let's start with the mission or vision. If you remember in the last class when we were talking about one example of, 3 people, 2 people, one person digging a ditch, one person filling it, one third person who was absent, for who was supposed to sow the seeds. When we discussed this example, we discussed about this mission and vision. Okay, vision is where you want to be in 5 years time or 10 years time. Okay, mission is what are you doing to achieve that. If those people were told clearly, see, this is the vision of our, organization, we are planting this jungle or we are making this forest, we have to, convert this barren land into forest. If that vision was clear, they would knew that where was their contribution going, and they would have found out, okay, the person who is sowing seed is absent, either we should do it or we should wait for him to come, like that. Okay, that's why organizations stress on this, and in your training program they will tell you about this. See, this is the vision of our company, this is the mission of our company, so you know where you are, what you are doing, where your contribution goes. So your Philips, they'll tell you we want to make brighter bulbs with less energy consumption. So that is the vision. So now you know, okay, everything you do should contribute towards that. Okay, so in simple terms, mission means, the answer to this would be, why do we exist? See, why, what are we doing? Okay, that is the mission. So this mission should contribute to the vision. Okay, I'm sure by now you know what is the vision and mission of Mahe. You must have seen this 3 years in your labs when you came first day in your prospectus. Everywhere you must have seen. Okay, if you don't remember, here it is. Okay, vision is global leadership in human development, excellence in education and healthcare. Okay, this is what we want to achieve in some years' time. We have to be global leaders in human development, human excellence and in education and healthcare. Okay, mission. Okay, why? What are we doing now to achieve that goal? Right now, we want to be the most preferred choice of students. Okay, students should come to Manipal after writing their 12th, they should decide, no, I have to study in Manipal. Until I crack that Manipal exam, I'm not going to, sleep. I don't want to go to IIT. I want to go to Manipal only. Okay, like that, students should have a feel. That is in our mission. And faculty also. They should not tell Manipal, I don't want to go there. From anywhere, if faculty wants to, they should feel, yes, Manipal is the best place for me. Okay, same with industry. Manipal students are extremely good, smart, intelligent. We can teach them anything. They are fast learners, very obedient, sincere. Okay, like that, they should have an image. That is our mission. Okay, and whatever ranking you take, we should be in the top 10. Whenever you take any ranking in healthcare, Mahe is there. Ranking in management education, Mahe is there. Ranking in engineering, technical things, Mahe is there. Okay, so this is our mission. To be there, we are doing everything, and then we have to achieve that global leadership. That is the final vision. Okay, then there is some added values. Okay, why these things drive our decision making. Okay, so this is just for you to read, and you will not. Uh, okay, just have a look. Integrity, transparency, quality, teamwork, execution with passion, humane touch. Okay, these are our values. Okay, so now you understood what is mission and vision. Vision is where you want to be in 5 years time. Mission is what are you doing to achieve that. Okay, if you see this in the mission statement, we tell about who we are, what we value. In vision statement, we talk about what we want to become. Okay, then strategy is how will we achieve our vision. Okay, what are the things we will do, and goals and objectives are the instruments that help you gauge your degree of success. Okay, we set some objectives or goals. By this year we should increase our ranking by 10%. So at the end of that period, did we achieve that or no? That tells how successful we are. Okay, we have to increase our ranking by this. By the end of that given period, we want to see did we achieve that or not. Okay, another way of looking at this mission statement is what the company represents and values. Vision is what the company wishes to become, and strategy and goals are how the company strives to achieve whatever it has planned. That tells you how successful we are or where we are going. Okay, another example of vision and mission is here your NHS. NHS, mm, a doctoral body of UK. Okay, National Health Services, I suppose it's a good body, like government institute of United Kingdom. So their vision is to be a national and international leader in healthcare. Okay, fine. That's what they want to do. What is their mission? Care, achieve, innovate. So they work with that in mind, so that they reach their vision. Okay, and here are some objectives. Objectives are usually objectives when we talk with the two. Okay, what is your objective? To reduce my weight by 10 kgs, to learn this. Okay, to increase my pocket money by 15%. So these objectives always start with two. Okay, to measure, to examine, to deliver, to research, to be something like that. So NHS objectives are to deliver excellent patient care and experience, to deliver value for money, to be an employer of choice. Okay, so many things. Customers should be happy, employees should be happy. Okay, so this is your vision and mission. Okay, now what is this objective exactly? Just now we talked about objective. So in simple terms, objective is certain end results towards which you are working. Okay, if you remember, I told you the objective of this course. I told you course objectives. I showed you 4 or 5 objectives. At the end of this chapter, at the end of this course, you should be able to identify the functions of managers. You should be able to classify the different roles of managers. You should be able to make a business plan and present it to some investors. You should, at the end of this chapter, you should be able to learn some motivational techniques so that you can motivate your employees. Okay, so like that. So some end results towards which we are working. Today's objective of today's class is to complete the planning chapter and then make you understand what are the steps in planning, what are the different types of plan. Okay, so when we talk of objectives, usually we talk of two things. One is verifiable objective, one is non-verifiable objective. See, verifiable objective is you should be able to verify it at the end of the given time. See, if you say my objective is to increase my marks, and another person says my objective is to increase my CGPA by 1. So second is measurable. So at the end of that result, you can measure whether he has got he has got that increment or not. If you simply say I want to increase my CGPA, so if your CGPA was 8.05, it becomes 8.10. See, that also is increased. Or from 8 to 9, it has become, he has told I will increase by 1. It has become 9. That also is increased. But second case, we can verify it exactly, correctly. Okay, so we tell usually give verifiable objectives. Simply don't tell we have to increase the sales. Okay, you know mm, the market share should increase by next quarter. So people tell give verifiable objective so that people exactly know how much you are talking about. Okay, and you can channelize your efforts towards that. So when we tell the objectives, usually we talk about verifiable and non-verifiable objectives. See, if you look at objectives of a university, attracting highly qualified students, creating new knowledge to research and all that. If you look at here NHS objectives, we can see to deliver excellent patient care like that. Okay, so these are some examples of objectives. So when we talk of these objectives, we talk about something called top-down approach and bottom-up approach. So as simple as that, don't break your head on this. Top-down approach is in upper level managers determine the objective for the subordinates. It comes from top. What should my objective be? Okay, bottom-up is subordinate initiate and set the objectives and then tell to the top level. See, these are the objectives that we have set. Are you happy with those or with these or not? Okay, so usually we believe that bottom-up approach is better in objective setting so that you know what you want to do instead of they telling you how to do all these things. Okay, so very simple top-down approach and bottom-up approach in objectives. Next, another type of plan is, which I have seen in the first slide, is policies. See, whenever the word comes policy, you have to write guidelines. Okay, see, policy means these are certain guidelines that help you in decision making. See, as simple as that. Our organizational policy, there are several things, for example. So, these help in decision making. Okay, fine. But the basic thing is the general guidelines that will help you in taking the decisions. See, for example, like I told in the previous class, or I did not tell you probably. See, there was a director here once upon a time. So that director resigned from here and that person is going to some other place. Okay. So now that is a void created. Okay, now who will become the director? So usually if you look at other normal circumstances, so when a person is resigning at that level, we'll have to ask them give us 3 months notice period, and in that notice period you will have to first give advertisement to different attract different good brains from outside. So you are giving it in paper, internet, in some trade magazines, word of mouth, spreading it across on your social media page. You are telling others this post is empty, vacant, apply. So there will be applications coming from different places. Okay, and at such level you cannot tell them, okay, next 15th is the interview, all of you come. So they are in some good positions already. So you'll have to ask them, when can you come for an interview? Okay, and that day the panel has to be ready, and that person when he comes, the flight or whatever charges, you have to send someone to pick from airport, make them stay in the say Valley View. Okay, and then make an arrangement for them to come to college for interview. And after interview you cannot tell today 5 o'clock will declare. You'll have to let them go. Then after all these interviews have done, then you shortlist someone and then you have selected someone. and then you're telling them, then they'll tell, okay, fine, I need 3 months to resign from here and come. So it takes a long time for such things. So instead, so when I told you one director was there, that person resigned, immediately Mahe started scanning for inside, because the Mahe policy says we promote people from within. So if there is a vacancy created, first we will look at people inside. Do we have people of that caliber to take charge? Once we are scanned and done from inside, then we will go to the outside world. So director post, they scanned people inside who are the eligible people. So then we know, and there was another director, another person became the director. Okay, so this is how this policy helped us promoting person from within. Tomorrow my HOD resigns and goes from here. First they look for people inside. See, now you may ask me, all organizations can do this. What is special in this? See, no, all organizations don't do this. If you remember, I told you in this belt, Dakshin Kannada belt, South Canara belt, there are at least 21 engineering colleges. At least, I don't know, it may be more now. I've lost the count. So, just to tell you, NITK, MIT, NITTE is there. One college in Surya is there. In Mangalore, Srinivas, two colleges are there. There is one college called Sahyadri. There is something called MITE, MIT it is called. Then there is some, in Kundapur, there is one college. In Bhatkal, there is another college. And in the Mangalore itself, there is one college called Sridevi, one college called Saint Joseph, one college called AJ, one college called Enapoya. So like this, see, I lost several. There are some two college, one or two in Puttur Vivekananda College. One is there. Like this, there are 21. So what these colleges do, they are relatively new, not established like MIT. Okay, so their policy is, if any post is vacant, first scan for best brains outside, and then decide upon thinking. I mean, promoting people from within. Okay, because those are relatively new colleges. They don't have so much of experience like MIT or something. So what happens if a HOD post is vacant in those colleges, or they're starting a new branch, they need a HOD, or some director is retiring or something. First they'll scan for people from MIT. Okay, because their NITK people will not go to, leaving NITK, they'll not go to any college because government institute obviously. So they look at MIT, and people here who could not become professor because of the ratio. Like every department there is some ratio. Like for example, 10 assistant professors, 5 associate professors, 2 professors, like this, some kind of ratio. So even if the associate professor is eligible for becoming professor, he cannot get that professor post, because only 2 can become as per the rules, that ratio. So these people, they may look for opportunity outside. So if these colleges come and tell director post is empty or HOD post is empty, we will make you professor, join us. So these people will join. Okay, so that is the policy of that college. Those colleges hire best brains from outside. MIT Mahe principles, Mahe policy says look for promotion within, then we'll look outside. Okay, so like this, for everything you will have some policy. For example, Zomato, some kind of refund policy. Mahindra and Mahindra, some kind of policy. Tata, they have some kind of policies. Okay, so policies are some guidelines that help you in making decisions. Okay. Procedures. See, procedures are a chronological sequence of events. Okay, like for this one, what is the policy? Sorry, what is the procedure to change the room? So you are in 15th block, you want to shift to 17th block. Okay, so you know one room is vacant there. You directly cannot take your suitcase and bag and go and settle down and tell Raju bhai mein aa gaya. You cannot go and tell, yes, I have come, I have arrived. Now that room you give to somebody. No, you have to talk to the first room boy and get whatever clearance. Then this block warden, then that block warden, then it has to be signed by chief warden, and then so many things. You have to follow that procedure. You cannot break it. Directly get it signed from chief warden and then go to the room boy and tell. He would have told, I have already signed and given to some other person. So chaos. So procedure. First they will sign. Did the room boy give you clearance? Then did this block warden allow you? Did that block warden avoid you? So you're going step by step. Okay, that is procedure. See, what is the procedure to, avail holiday, take a leave? Okay, every organizations have different things. If you're in Western context, you can directly call in sick. They'll not ask you question. I'm sick. No, I'm not well. I'm not coming today. Yesterday night you are watching football match. Manchester United versus Arsenal, you are watching till 4 5 o'clock, your team has lost or won, you are celebrated in any case. Okay, and you are not able to get up, but you call and tell, I am what I'm sick. So that company policy, that their company procedure may be that way to take leave. Okay, sick, fine. Okay, see, if you take in that kind of thing in MIT, if I want to tell tomorrow I'm on leave, I want to take it off tomorrow. So I have, the procedure says first get it signed from the HOD and then see that you've done an alternative arrangement for your class. If your class you're missing, make sure you have given it to somebody. Okay, or if you are missing a lab, make sure there is a person to, you know, fill your void. Later you can compensate, you can help him when he is taking leave, but make an alternative arrangement. So here this is the procedure to take the leave. Once that alternative arrangement, that person has signed on the form, then the HOD will sign, okay, leave granted. Okay, so different organizations, they have different ways. So this is procedure, some kind of chronological sequence of actions. This is what you should follow to get some things done. Rules. Rules are basically do's and don'ts, as simple as that. Like if they tell no smoking in academic area, that means no smoking in academic area, as it is clear. You are caught smoking, you will be fined or you will be rusticated, you will be thrown, whatever, I don't know. But you have broken the rule. The rules clearly said that you should whatever follow this in academic area. You have not done that, so you are liable for punishment. Okay, the rule says that you should wear helmet on the shop floor, you should wear safety shoes on the shop floor. You have not worn that, something has fell on your head or you have got injured in your leg, you will get zero compensation. Absolutely no, because you broke the rules. If you have followed the rules, then we can think of what to do. But if you have not followed the rules, you are gone. Okay, the rule says you have to punch in at 9 a.m. sharp and you have to be in college till 5, but you came at 9:30, gone. Rule says you should apply for half day leave, do it. Okay, and the rule says 3 times if you do this you can be sent home, for example. Nobody does that, I'm just telling you. So if that is the rule, that is the rule, you cannot break it. Okay, so rules are some strict do's and don'ts. These are required for every, every successful project, some kind of rules. Okay, then we have discussed briefly about budgets. Have a look at it once again. Okay, budgets are certain, expected results, expressed in some numerical terms. Like I told you, this room has to be painted by only 5 liters of paint. This room has to be finished within 3 man hours. This room has to be painted only by 3 people. You have to finish this in 3 hours. Okay, so all these are some budgets. There can be variable or flexible budget depending on the level of output. Okay, we will see this in detail when we talk about the chapter called budgets. In controlling. There is something called controlling based on budgets. That time we'll have a lengthy discussion on this detail. But as of now, remember that budgets are some expected results expressed in some numerical terms. Okay, this project should be finished within 10 crore rupees. So this is the budget. You cannot overshoot it. Okay, there are some delays which may cause you to overshoot the budget, but it should be avoided strictly. As much as possible, try to stick to the budget. Okay, this new course has to be started within 10 lakh rupees. If that is the budget, you do anything, plan anything, it should not exceed 10 lakh rupees. Okay, so these are the types of plans. If you remember, mission, vision, objectives, policies, procedures, rules. And now we just looked at something called strategic plan, tactical plan, and operational plan. Okay, strategic plan is long-term plan. You are looking at the full organization as a whole. Okay, you are analyzing here your opportunities, your strengths, your weaknesses, your threats across the organization. So this is a broad thing. Tactical plans are your small plans that will help you to meet your larger strategic plans. Okay, so these are strategic plans are usually carried by the top level managers. Conceptual and design skills, they look ahead and plan for the organization as a whole broadly. So those are strategic plans. Tactical plans, middle level managers, they do this. Okay, how to do small things that will help us achieve that goal. Operational plans are your day-to-day plans. Okay, very short-term plans which will help you to meet your tactical plans, which in turn help you in achieving your strategic goals. Okay, strategic goals, we have to be global leaders in healthcare by 2025. Okay, tactical plans, what we should do, we should have these kind of courses and all that. Operational plans, okay, what kind of syllabus should be there, okay, what should be the course plan, which are the books to be referred, what kind of lab should be conducted, what kind of project should be given to students, how should we evaluate them. Okay, that's why you have this COPO, CEO, PEO. Okay, program educational outcome, what so many things. Okay, so that this chapter helps us achieve this CO. Okay, this course helps us in achieving this PEO, like that. So these are all tactical plans which help, no, operational plans which help you meet your tactical plans, which broadly help you achieve your strategic plans. Okay, so that is the hierarchy. See, your strategy may be, we are going to do surprise attack. Fine. Now we can do that from many ways. So what is the tactics? We are going to do this kind of thing and give them total surprise. Okay, so that is how you will achieve your strategic plan. Simple example. Okay, now if you see this example, okay, after passing out, what you want to do. Now, if your goal is to find a new job, okay, you can do several things. You can use your current skills to find a new job. Okay, become a trainee somewhere and then learn something, or go to a college and try to get a new career, take a new course, and then you can get your strategic goals achieved. Okay, if your strategy is to use your current skills, okay, you decided that you don't want to do internship, you don't want to do a post graduation, with the current skill you want to get a job. If that is your strategy, what will be your tactics? What will do? You can update your resume now. Okay, adding the new things what you want to do. Then tell your friends that you are looking for a job. If they have some openings in their company, let them know, let them tell you it's there. Okay, then look at different places and apply. Go to an employment agency and register yourself, and if there is any opportunity, they'll get back to you. So these are the tactics to achieve your bigger goal. Okay, so same thing, your strategic goal is to get admission in Oxford University. Okay, so what will we do now to achieve that goal? So that is strategy and tactics. Now coming to this single use plan and standing plans, like we discussed in the beginning of this class. See, single use plans, as the name suggests, only once you are using. See, for example, yeah, today 50% off, these kind of things you cannot do that daily, but nowadays it is happening. That is extreme case, but on a bigger scale you're using it only once. So these kind of examples are to explain the single use plan. Standing plan, these kind of plans are always there. Okay, for example, your customer service policy, anyone buys a car from you, you are going to give them a feedback form, get their information, how was the sales procedure, did they feel comfortable, was everything okay and all that. Over. Okay, so that is your single use and standing plan. So if you connect it to what we had discussed so far, all these programs, budgets, projects, these are single use plans. Okay, standing plans, your policy, procedure, rules, this will be always there. Okay, so that is not only for this project or that project. So these are called standing plans. So sometimes these kind of questions can be asked for 1 or 2 marks. Okay, explain one standing plan with an example. So you can explain anything, policy, procedure, or rules, and tell what it is. Policy means general guidelines. Procedure is chronological sequence of actions. Rules are strict do's and don'ts. Okay. Yeah. Then specific and directional plans. Okay, another way of looking at it. Specific plan is, it tells you clearly, specifically, who is going to do what and by when. Okay, this person is going to teach you EOM. Okay, specifically, it's not told that somebody will teach you EOM. Okay, this person is going to teach. See, now your lesson plan, it's a specific plan. This day we are going to cover this, come what may. Okay, you are going to stick to this. So that becomes your specific plan. This class, this is what is going to be taught. Okay, so everybody is clear. And if you miss also, you know what you missed. If this kind of clear course plan is not there, if you miss, you may not know how much you missed, what you missed. So now you can see third class I missed. Okay, that day planning was done, so I missed this much. I should, read or look at that video or whatever. Okay, directional plan is, it's kind of flexible plan. For example, you have to go from here, say you are in AB1 or AB5. You are in AB5, you have to go to food court 2. So there are n number of ways of going. Okay, either you can walk through the mechanical workshops and go, or you can go outside, go to MV Road, eat chaat on the way from Tiwari, and then you can go via Student Plaza, or you can come out, go to TC, and from there you can go from another route. From gate number 4 you can enter. So many things you can do. Okay, so that is directional plan. You're clearly giving direction. We will follow this. Okay, there are n number of ways to achieve this, but we are going to follow this direction. Okay, we can compete. We can compete with this customer with this kind of campaign and then reach our goal, or we will not go into that dirty competition. We will directly cut the price and we will achieve this goal. So to increase sales, there can be many ways. Okay, either increase quality, reduce price, or go for aggressive campaigning, compete with this in this way and achieve, or go for collaboration with someone and merger you can have and then achieve. What so many things you can do. But you decided that you are going to do this. We are going to reduce cost for now. Okay, depending on your company situation. So that is a specific and directional plan. This is another important thing which we'll see later. Let me take your attendance. Your attendance is downloaded. 166 are there. Fine. Yeah, any doubts at this point in time? Anyone has any doubts you want to clarify? No?
Excuse me, sir.
Okay. Yeah, Swapnil, yeah.
Yes, I have one doubt in the objectives slide.
Yeah. Ask.
So, one of the main points of the objectives was that it has to be clearly defined. Like you gave for example, like it can't be we have to raise money. We have to raise like this amount of money, for example. So, but in the examples that you gave, like for the hospital, if a hospital was providing providing care to patients and such. So isn't that sort of an open-ended goal because it's not like objective because it's not specifying exactly how many patients or in how much time. It's
Correct.
sort of a general statement.
Good. Okay, good that you understood in that level. Very good. Okay, see, like I told you, there are two things: verifiable and non-verifiable. Okay, so in this case, they have given non-verifiable objectives, which is fair. For the outside world, they have given this non-verifiable objective.
Yes.
But their objective is to meet that. But if they give directly, it will become very dirty. In the sense, we want to operate on 1,000 patients. See how you will feel, isn't it? So, say deliver value for money. If they give this in some numerical terms, so this can be complicated. For every 100 rupees you pay, we want to give you value for 90 rupees or something.
Yes.
Okay, so it will become dirty. So in this case, they are giving non-verifiable objectives, which is fair. We understand what their objective is, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So that is how I'll answer your question. See, verifiable objective is important when you are going to verify that for your, performance appraisal, for your growth or something. From internally, I want to find out. I want to, evaluate you. That time, verifiable objective is a must.
Yes.
But if you're telling the outside world, No, you need not give verifiable objectives to everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, good. It's a very intelligent question. I hope I've answered your question.
So basically, we use verifiable objectives for the firms or companies' internal workings, and
Usually,
for the outside world, we present it through non-verifiable objectives.
yes.
Correct? Is
See,
that
if you
right?
don't, yes, yes. It's not. You see, the thing is, if we don't want to tell others exactly what we mean,
Hmm.
like, see, now if you are a stakeholder, if you're having shares of my company, you will expect me to tell that I will show 20% growth. You buy my shares. Okay. To my customers or to my clients, who are buying my raw materials or something, I need not tell them what is the number I'm thinking about. I'm expanding, I'm increasing my sales, I need raw materials at some cheaper cost. So in that case, I'll not tell them how much I'm planning to increase my sales or something.
Yes.
But to a stakeholder, I'll have to tell, if you I want you to buy my shares, and if you're already bought, I want you to retain it. So I will tell you a number. I will be increasing my sales by 20%, like that.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yes. So it's mostly on a case-by-case basis then.
Yeah, on case by case, and when you want others to measure it, that time
Yeah.
we'll give these number figures.
Hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
good.
Okay, sir. Yes.
Next
Thank
we will
you.
discuss. Thank you. Good question. Next we will discuss a concept called management by objectives. Okay, it's called MBO. Very important. So in that again you will see the importance of verifiable objectives. Okay. Yes, actually this is a very intelligent question. Very pointed one. I am very happy with this. Okay, and I will encourage everybody not I know everything or I'll answer immediately. If not, I will just refer something and come back. This is the only way I learn. Now, gone are the days where I will read it. I have other consultants or something. But one thing is, you people ask. Okay, last class also, uh, Karthik had mailed me some very good ones. Have okay. So if you cannot ask here, at least mail me. I'm not know everything. No, I am also upgrading my knowledge every day. Ask me some things. I'll work on it and get back to you. It will help me also. Okay. So if you anyone else has doubt, you can ask now, or you can mail me later also. But please keep asking something so that I also understand from which point you are thinking, from which angle you are thinking. It will be helpful for me also. Okay. So if you have no doubts, we will call it a day. In the next class, we will discuss something called systems approach to management. This is the I told you there are some 5 6 important figures. So one is, in the last class we saw that levels of managers against their skills. So this is another important question: systems approach to management. I'll explain this in the next class in detail. And immediately after this, we'll go to another chapter called MBO. Okay, management by objectives, which also comes under planning. It also has got a figure, which is also very important. So these two important things we'll cover in the next class. Then we will go to something called as strategic planning. In that we will look at what is something you must have heard about: SWOT analysis, SWOT. So what is that? What do we achieve by doing that? So this kind of strategic planning tools we'll see in the next class. So if you have nothing to ask me or something, we can call it a day. I have downloaded your attendance. It is saved. Yeah, and class reps, please get back to me about this. What is that? Contact classes. Okay, what you guys think about it? Do you want it? If you don't want it, whatever, let me know your opinion so that I can pass it on to my coordinator, and we can think of how many rooms to be booked and all that. Fine. Yeah. So I think we can call it a day. I will meet you on Thursday, 8 a.m. Okay. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.